Hello YouTubers. Today I'm going to show you how to use one of these street lights in your own house or home, because I got a request by Cody Martell, as I believe how you pronounce it, requested me to make a how-to video on how to wire a street light for home use. Now this one is actually running on 120 volts. Now, keep in mind, streetlight brands vary with the way their ballast configuration is. So, or anything, I'm going to shut this off at my switch over here. And yes, I reverted that back to high pressure sodium. I just don't want it to burn my fingers off, because it's 100 watts, as it says right there. And this I will also cover. Sorry for taking this off again. I'm going to cover this, the Autobahn series. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover the Autobahn series as well. Now, first thing is first. Some of these lights have screws, some will have latches. Now, you're going to want to get a 3/8 bit. Because most of these lights use 3/8 bits. A wrench will do as well, an adjustable wrench, if you don't have an access to any impact drivers. Keep in mind, professionals use these actually to replace these. I just want to take the screw out, just like that. And these doors swing out, so keep in mind. Now, without this trying to fall over, and I'm probably going to have to disconnect this. Here is a power module. This is what you call these. Some lights have these separate, some will have them inside. As you can see, this one is separate. So I'm going to actually disconnect this circuit. And I'll put it on the bed and show you taps, all the tap selections. Now, this is a universal ballast, so I could actually set it all the way from 120 volts to 277 volts. Now, you're going to most likely just go straight to 120 volts. Some lights only have one voltage option between 120 or 240. In fact, this one here in the middle here, this GE, only uses 120 volts. Which I got lucky, so you better keep that in mind if you want to hook streetlights up in your house. Another thing is a photocell. The good old photocell, which I actually have this one covered up by a rag. I actually hooked it up for this demonstration, so yep. Now, before anything, you're going to want to chop a power cord or something off of something you don't need anymore. Just a standard 120 volt power cord, or you could even use an extension cord if you want to go all out. Now keep this in mind, if you know wire sizes, I highly recommend between 18 to 16 gauge wire, mostly 16 gauge. The higher up the wattage you have, like if for instance if you got a 400 watt high pressure sodium light, highly recommend going to probably 14 gauge for that. And if you could get cut cords off old junky treadmills, those cords are even better, because those use like 12 gauge a lot of times. And it's 3-pronged, but 2-prong, 3-prong, it doesn't affect the way this works. And make sure it is polarized, and what I mean by polarized is one end is bigger than the other. Now, I've already have this hooked up in here, so... And I should have brought a flashlight for you guys, but... Here is 2 terminals here. There's a third terminal there, but that's for your earth ground. That doesn't affect the way this light works. Now, what you're seeing here, this wire on the right here is my neutral. This is where my white wires go. This one on my left is my hot wire, which is a black or a red wire going in. And then from this wire coming off these from this terminal block goes straight to your photocell. And then this red wire comes off the photocell straight into this modular connector that plugs into this power module back at the pulsing circuit here that's in charge of starting the arc in the bulb. And then this maintains the current as well as this. And this drives the bulb to keep it running at a maintaining current draw. But keep in mind about that. So I covered that part. If you got that, you're good to go. If not, then I'll try to answer as much questions as I can. The next part is I'm going to actually cover how to retrofit these. So this is the next part here. It's an all-in-one video special for you guys. Here we have actually coincidentally, this is actually a smaller version of this bulb. It's made by Philips. I got off another light. This is a 100 watt high pressure sodium light. This bulb is a Philips LED. Filament LED puts out 300 lumens if you don't want that intensive brightness in your house. The only problem is the base size, and in fact I'll take this out just so if you guys are ever new with this kind of stuff. Just in case, I want to warn you guys about this. See how big that base is? That is an E40 base. Look at the size difference. That's an E40, this is an E27. Now, luckily, they make adapters out there called an E40 to E27 base, or known as Edison 27, Edison 40. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to twist your ordinary LED incandescent bulb. I'm trying to do this one-handed. In fact, I'll put it right here so you guys can see how this works. Works like an ordinary light bulb socket. So, just like that. Before my battery dies in the camera, I'm going to put new batteries in and then I'll resume the video on the retrofit progress here. Okay, so I left off with screwing this bulb in. Now, can you stick this in here like this? Absolutely not. You do not want to stick this bulb directly into the socket just yet. Because the next step is you need to bypass this. And if you don't bypass this, well, guess what's going to happen? If you stick an incandescent bulb in, it'll probably pop the filament or else, or probably it'll be, if lucky, I'll run, but probably hurting this. And since this is an LED, it'll most likely blow it up. You'll get that magic smoke and flames inside your street light, and you do not want that. So, I'm going to close this up so it don't break my lens. Streetlight brands vary. Now, I will cover how to bypass the photocell on this. And if I have a flashlight here, yes I do, I can show you the inside of that. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you about power cords is the way how to tell which one's my neutral. This is my neutral, this one's my hot. The right one's hot, the left one's neutral. But down the cord, you may get confused. Well, these wires look the same, right? Some like this actually already have it marked. See this white line? That's my neutral, and then the label's my red. It's similar on this cord, but the way you tell on these power cords which one's my hot and which one's my neutral, this one here, most power cords will have labels on them. So if this one wire has a label, all these specs about the wire, this one's my hot, that's going to be your hot wire. The neutral wire usually has either nothing on it a lot of times. And you can see the label here. Label's my hot. This textured wire that usually has like a little texture on the side here, that's my neutral. Always make sure that it's right, otherwise you're just going to be popping LED bulbs if their polarity matters. But now I'm going to lower this a little bit so you can kind of get a sneak peek of the inside a little bit here. I know this is for you beginners out there that are new to this kind of stuff, so I'll try to speak as thoroughly as I can for you here. So this is my modular connector. This is what plugs into the ballast module. Some lights again have the ballast inside. Brands vary. But see this wire here? This wire, I'll follow it back into here. And it goes right here. We do not need this wire. So we could disconnect that. Leave that one there, but now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to disconnect this photocell here. This goes up to that photocell. This is if you want to use a switch or you just don't want to spend the extra money on for a shorting cap. You could get shorting caps, but if you don't want to spend the extra money or don't want to wait any longer, you might as well just bypass it. This wire here will be going directly to that E40 socket up there, or light bulb socket, however you want to call it. And now this wire here, these two that you see in the middle of your screen with these wire nuts on them, go directly to that E40 socket. I'm going to want to disconnect my modular connectors, and I've already pre-cutted it because I retrofitted it myself, but this is for you. This wire will go to this wire on the terminal block, and I'll get that off the middle of your screen. We want these two to go together like this. And if you're super worried about your fingers, if you don't want to get cuts on your fingers, wear gloves or something. But see, I like to use my bare fingers, so it doesn't matter. And get your hands on some of these orange wire nuts. You could get them at your hardware store. You could find them. They're very inexpensive. You could buy packs of 100 if you want. They're just good to have around. Prevents fires from happening, let's just say that. Now this other wire nut up here comes off this terminal block here, my hot side, and since it's black you probably can't see it. This wire here goes to the photocell. We want to bypass that as well. And none of this red and blue, none of this red we don't need. We need the blue, the one going up to that socket. So I'm going to actually twist off this blue first. This blue we want, this one that goes to this modular socket, disregard. You don't need that. And then now I got to disconnect this black. So now, this black going to the photocell socket, disregard. This one coming off the terminal block, make your straight connection to here, to this black wire and this blue. Join those two together, twist on with the wire nut. And then all these other wires you can just tuck back inside. Make sure that any exposed ends like this are not going to get into those terminal blocks. Especially for you kids out there new with this stuff. You do not want exposed wires out in the open. So now, are you ready to put an LED bulb or any kind of household E27 type bulb in there? Yes, you are. In fact, I'll twist it in there for you right now. And now I'm going to go over to my light switch where I control these lights from. And there you go. Ta-da! You got yourself an LED or CFL or incandescent light if you're still into those. you can fit those in here now. I'll put the link in the description to these too. They actually sell packs of 12 of these for like dirt cheap on Amazon. Highly recommend the brand. The type that I put in the description, because a lot of these apparently have bad reviews, but this one's the only one that had good reviews. Highly suggest sticking with this one just to be on the safe side. And now, if you want to keep this ballast module, then you can. If you want to remove this, knock yourself out. You can do whatever you want with this because you're not using this anymore. For me, I prefer keeping this in here because it's original to this fixture. And I think it's just got some character, so I might as well keep it. So, now I'm just going to screw this back in. And sorry that this video is a little long, but I don't really like to do too many edits on these kind of videos, so you guys can kind of get just a way step-by-step instruction of how to do this. So now this door goes on the bottom. I don't know if you got in the middle string. So you may want to push these in. You want to get your 3/8 bit and put it righty-tighty. There you go. And you're all good to go. Now, I'm going to move on to the LED technology that some of you like and some of you are haters of. But here we go. We're going to move on to this Autobahn LED light now. Now right here in the middle of your screen is an American Electric Autobahn series LED that I found knocked off a light pole. Now this was fairly much easier than a high pressure sodium. There's not much you need to do with this. You don't even need a tool to open this. You just simply untwist this wing nut. Now keep in mind, if you have a GE LED, you still need that 3/8 bit. But this one's very user friendly. And I'm gonna scoot the camera back so I can swing the service door open. In case some of you new enthusiasts that like this these new lights, I'll actually, if the camera will focus for me. I don't know if you can make anything out of that, but if you want to look these up, you can. There's a model catalog numbers and everything. But it's going to be, it'll come up under Autobahn series. Now, you do not need to know voltage taps for this, because this driver, this is made by Philips by itself. This is a Philips Advanced LED driver, and also these two wires here are your 0 to 10 volt dimming capabilities. These street lights, this particular one is very user friendly because, and I'm not going to really poke around too much at these wires, but see these right here? They're wire nut, almost like wire nuts like this right here, but except, and if I could get to any of them, I know this one for a fact isn't in use. This is Wego nuts, or Wego clip connectors, however you want to call them. Now, how you undo the wires off of these, and this, keep in mind, this one's dead. This one's not going at the moment. You pull these clips up, and then your wire just slides out. You just get, if you have long enough fingernails, just push it down, just like that. And if you want to clip the wire, if you want to put your wire back in, you slide your wire back in and clip it down like that. No splicing needed for this. Put your wire in, clip it down, and you're all set to go. Now, you could use this on 120 volts to 277, just from these two wires. This automatically knows the voltage range. It's basically a switch mode power supply for this. Same thing applies to power cord, and I'm not going to poke around here. It's the same thing as that one GE I just showed you. There's a terminal block right there. This one actually has a cover over it, because brands vary. 2 flatheads terminals there. You put your power cord in there. Wire the white to white, black to black, or the hot to hot. Now, if you get this off a curb or someone gives you one of these, and you find it to be irritatingly too bright, guess what? No problem, because this provides that. So if I disconnect this wire nut, you can see it just got 10 times brighter. Now that's a little too bright for my use, and it also gets way too hot. So if I short the 0 to 10 volt wires together, watch what happens now. Magic, it dims. You don't need a dimmer switch. If you short these two out together, it'll fully dim this fixture all the way, 100%. And it'll be way much better, and you're using less energy. So that's how those Autobahns work. Now, all these empty wires you may see in here, if your fixture is like that, disregard them. You don't need to use them. Photocell process is the same as the other one, except you don't need splice wires. You just move a few wires around in here, which I don't want to poke around in here for, but try to be careful here. Just keep in mind these wires are alive. Well, actually these two are dead. This is my photocell wires right here. So all I've done here is I moved the black from the incoming black, which is this wire, and moved it here. I moved it here like that. And then this is my hot going to the LED driver, shorting those two out together, so no splicing needed. This is completely toolless. If you want to dim your light all the way, get yourself an orange wire nut, just twist on top. You don't have to get all fancy with the Wago nuts like they did on here. That's all there is to this Autobahn Series 1. Now, to put this back together, you don't need a drill or anything. Just twist this wing nut back on, and you're all set to go, just like that. And you're all set to use it in your house. Stands are up to you. Up to you and your preferences. If you want to make a wooden stand like I did here with a piece of PVC pipe, you can, or use fan stands. Knock yourselves out. It's free country, right? Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful. And if you got lost in this video, please ask me questions. And if I can't really understand what you're saying, I'll just ask you to send me a picture to your email of your ballast and your fixture type, and I'll figure it out for you. Now keep in mind, if yours is a 240 volt light, you're out of luck for this one. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Stay tuned.